Mr. President, what we are looking at right now is a budget process whose ultimate goal is to remove health insurance from tens of millions of Americans. Now, let us be clear. The United States of America today is the only major country on earth, the only one. I live 50 miles away from the Canadian border. Many of us have visited Europe. We are the only major country on earth that does not guarantee health care to all people as a right, something that I passionately believe in. I believe that health care for all is a human right. I would have hoped that we would be working together to figure out what is a complicated issue as to how we could move forward to guarantee health care to all people in a cost-effective way. But that is not what we are debating today. Let us be very clear. The Republican plan, their budget plan, lays the groundwork for ending the Affordable Care Act, which will remove tens of millions of Americans from the health insurance they get. Now, there is nothing wrong with change. We can always improve. I would hope that during the course of this debate, my Republican friends who want to repeal the Affordable Care Act will come down and tell us what their plan is, how, in fact, they are going to provide quality, cost-effective health care to all Americans. Well, you know what? They all voted against the Affordable Care Act. Senator Enzi is right. We did not get one Republican to vote for it. They have had 8 years to be thinking about how they're going to come up with a new plan. And I would hope, but I do not expect, one Republican to come to the floor and say, oh, yeah, we're going to throw 20, 30 million people out of their health insurance. This is our new plan. This is how we're going to provide health care to those people. They have no ideas. Their theme is to repeal and then delay, or someday they're going to come up with a new plan. You don't destroy a house without having another house in which people to live. You don't throw 30 million people off of health care without having a plan to provide health care to those people. Number two, under the Republican proposal, something that many Republicans have been talking about for years, they want to end Medicare as it presently exists, a program which is life and death for millions of seniors. And they want to voucherize Medicare, give people a check, and then let them go out to the private insurance market and get the best deal they can. Imagine that you are an 85-year-old senior citizen who has been diagnosed with cancer, and you get your check for whatever it may be. We don't know what it will be, $7,000, $8,000, $9,000. And you go to the insurance company, you say, I've got $9,000, I'm 85, I've been diagnosed with cancer, I want you to take care of me. Give me an insurance program which will take care of my medical needs, my hospital needs, and the insurance agent will laugh in your face because $9,000 or $8,000 will last you at most for a 1 week. That is their plan. Right now, and I've been all over the country, the American people are outraged at the high cost of prescription drugs in this country. Let us be clear, because of the power of the pharmaceutical industry and their lobbying and their campaign contributions, a power that exists, by the way, not only influencing Republicans, but too many Democrats as well. We pay the highest prices in the world for prescription drugs. In fact, 1 out of 6 Americans who go to a doctor to get a prescription for an illness can't even afford to fill the prescription. And yet under the Republican proposal, if you eliminate the Affordable Care Act, the donut hole, which now helps seniors pay for their prescription drugs, will be eliminated, and prescription drugs for seniors could rise by as much as 50%. Oh, and by the way, at a time when we have more income and wealth inequality than any other major country on earth, when the very, very rich are getting richer while the middle class shrinks, the Republican proposal not only throws 20 to 30 million people off of health insurance, not only raises the price of prescription drugs for seniors, not only moves forward to privatize Medicare, but shock of all shocks, our Republican colleagues want to give massive tax breaks to the top 2%. Now, among many, many other negative impacts that the repeal of the Affordable Care Act will have, will be one that it will impact heavily rural states like Wyoming, Vermont, and other rural states around this country. And that is, as a result of the repeal of the Affordable Care Act, rural hospitals could be forced to close their doors, not getting the funding that they need, leaving millions of Americans with nowhere to turn for critical medical care. So I look forward to this debate. Nobody here thinks that the Affordable Care Act is perfect. Nobody believes that at all. The goal is how we repair it, how we improve it, how we expand health care to more Americans, how we end what has been the case for decades in this country, that we pay by far the highest prices in the world per capita for health care. And maybe we should understand that we are the only major country in the world that allows private insurance companies to profit off of people's illness. Mr. President, the proposal being brought forth by the Republicans is not only poorly thought out, it really is not popular. It is not what the American people want. You go back to your hometowns and ask people that when a time when the top 1/10 of 1% owns almost as much wealth as the bottom 90%, when the top 1% is earning 52% of all new income, you go out and you ask your constituents whether we should give huge tax breaks to the top 2%, and they don't think that that is a good idea. According to a poll released this month by Politico and Morning Consult, 80% of the American people think the federal government should be spending more money on Medicare. Only 10% think we should be spending less. 71% of the American people think we should be spending more on Medicaid. 84% of the American people think the federal government should be spending more on Social Security. In other words, the proposal that we are seeing from the Republicans today is way, way out of touch from where the American people are.
This isn't some game. People die every year in America due to lack of coverage, and the estimates are staggering. It is estimated that upwards of 45,000 people in America die per year due to lack of coverage. But notice how I said in America, because there are a lot of countries that already guarantee healthcare to all of their people as a right, and thus their people do not lose their lives due to lack of health coverage. That seems like the morally right thing to do, does it not? To make sure one's people are healthy and well? And yet, we here in America do not do that. And as a result, as aforementioned, we lose a lot of people per year due to lack of coverage. Moreover, a less broached aspect of the healthcare debate is that a lot of people go bankrupt due to medical expenses. which would not be a thing if we joined the many countries around the world and guaranteed healthcare to all of our people as a right. In truth, if we did, nobody would go bankrupt because everybody would be covered. You know, it is just beyond unbelievable to me, the greed of the drug companies and the health insurance companies in this country. Now, the media and seemingly most of our politicians in Washington make it seem as if the idea of guaranteeing healthcare to all of our people as a right is some radical idea, and that it would cost too much. But don't be fooled. Medicare for All, the universal healthcare plan Bernie Sanders introduced, would reportedly save we the American people a ton of money. So, in short, Bernie's Medicare for All bill would guarantee healthcare to all, significantly reduce the amount of money we spend as a country on healthcare, and save the many people we lose per year due to lack of coverage. It's honestly a no-brainer.